Hello, I'm going to try to get this thing started today. I left off last was talking about I'd gotten the Magneto fired up. I needed to replace an oil line fitting, torque the head down, swap the carburetor out with the one on my 55, clean the gas tank out. Of course I got to put oil in it. I'm going to make sure the oil pump is primed, and then put your spark plug in and see if we can get it to fire up. First thing I'm going to do is take off this air intake, because I need that out of the way to get to this oil fitting, and I don't really need it on there to just to start this up. So we take the top off of this oil cleaner here, and one thing I noticed when I was inspecting this tractor is this oil cleaner, I don't know if you could see, but this is really a nice clean shape. I've seen some of these where it's just globs of garbage in them. That was really nice to see. We need a 13/16 spark plug socket and a 7/8 wrench. Take this off. Now this threads into the top of the transmission. And there's a hole all the way through, right over the forward reverse planetary. So I'll have to put a 1/2-inch bolt in, otherwise I'm going to have a hole right down into the top of my transmission. See, that's just a bolt and a stud. And let's see, I'm going to need to, oh no, she just slid right off. Good deal. Now I can go and thread this 1/2-inch bolt right into the top of the transmission. That's just going to act like a plug. Just so I don't end up getting anything down into that transmission, sucking any garbage in there. Next thing I need to do is remove this oil line so I can replace this broken fitting. But before I do that, I wanted to show you all something. You see how these oil lines are set up on this tractor? This is completely wrong for a low volume oil pump. It's plumbed for a high volume pump. The problem is it's still got the low volume pump on it. If it had a high volume pump, you would see a thicker cover here, and this oil line would be coming out of the side of the cover, not the side of the crankcase. So for a low volume oil pump, the output line should come straight to a T-fitting on the side of the crankcase. So oil is going straight from the pump onto that bearing in there. And then from this T-fitting, it would go to the input on the oil filter, and then a single line would go from the output right into the pressure relief valve and back into the transmission. So whoever converted this actually plumbed it wrong. It's unfortunately pretty common. My 55 was the same way when I bought it. So I am going to eventually, when I restore this, I'm going to bend new lines. I'm going to put the original canister style filter on and plumb this correctly, but I should be able to just run it, if I can get it running today, just to test it out with it plumbed in correctly. It probably ran for years this way, and hopefully it didn't do any damage. So just wanted to point that out to you. I apologize, I had a bit of a mishap during video here, and I ended up not videoing the rest of the work I did on this. So I'll walk you through what I did. I made a new oil line here because I went to replace the fitting on the other one, and by the time I cut off the end of the line to get new fitting on, it just wasn't long enough. This is the carburetor off my 55. I put this on here. This is the old fuel line I saved off the 55, and I just cut it, put it into this rubber hose that the previous owner has on here with the shutoff valve. Got the spark plug in, got the Magneto timed properly. I primed the oil pump. Maybe I'll do a separate video on how I did that. It's actually very simple. And I filled the oil up. So all I I need to do now is put some gas in it. Let's see if it starts. So let's take it outside and do that. So it's a few hours later. Tried to start it for quite a while earlier. It ran for a grand total of about a second or two, and then I couldn't get a pop, anything out of it. Apparently that's Edison Magneto wasn't working as well as I thought it was. Everything looked good on the bench, but I put it on here. I wasn't getting spark on the impulse. I took it off. I went down into my basement, bench tested it again. It was intermittent on the impulse. If I was getting spark, it was really, really weak. So I swapped it out for a Wyco Magneto that I've got that I did take care of. I rebuilt it, so I know that thing's good. It tests out great. Looks like I'm getting good spark on the machine. So let's try and start it up again. See if it works this time. as you can tell, it runs, although not terribly well. Then again, the carburetor settings are for my 55L, not for this machine. I'm not going to adjust this carburetor because it's going right back on that machine. High-low planetary works, forward reverse works. Engage the mower deck, everything still works just fine. It's not bogging down even at that low engine speed. You could probably tell it was popping out of the carburetor and popping a little out of the exhaust, so obviously lapping the valves is going to help out with that, and double checking the valve lash. I didn't even check that. So I did burn a little oil. I was kind of surprised by that. So when I take it apart, I am going to hone the cylinder and throw some new rings in it. One thing that I do want to address though is that Magneto. Like I said, the Edison wasn't working for me, so I had to put a Wyco in there. I don't want to keep that Wyco in there. I will if I have to, but hopefully I can get the Edison squared away before this this project is completed. But we did get a run in today and confirmed all the clutches and everything work well, so that's a plus. Now it's just time to tear it down and do the whole restoration. So I will see you on the next episode.